Hey guys, so today we have this. It's a Yardmachines by MTD. It's actually this mower up here from a previous video that we couldn't get quite running properly, even though we changed the carburetor and the gas tank. I recommend going and checking out that video and learning a little bit more about this lawnmower. For one, that's going to give me 2 views, and with 2 views per person, that doubles the time that I get, which is awesome in my books. Plus, that pushes this video out to more people, so I get even more views. And seeing as I have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, it would do me a real solid if you'd hit that subscribe button down below and also give it a thumbs up so it gets pushed out to more people, because I also know that at least 86% of you guys are watching without being subscribed. If at least 2% subscribed, I'd definitely reach that 1,000 by the end of the year. So hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and let's get into the video. So in this video, what I'd like to do, because of the problems that we were having originally when this thing wouldn't run, well, it wouldn't run properly, plus the primer doesn't work. I'd like to get this replaced with the original. However, since the spring had been misplaced by whoever it was that had taken this part the first time, we're going to scavenge it out of this, because at least this one actually primed, and honestly, even without that spring, it ran this engine. So let's do the swap and see how it runs. But if it's still acting kind of crappy, we're definitely cracking into this head. Then again, maybe I'll just crack into it anyways, just to see the condition of this cylinder. I mean, why not? All right. Let's crack into it. This particular gas tank, it's actually got a 7/16 bolt, but that's because this gas tank actually replaced the fuel tank on a different engine that had a different carburetor entirely. We thought we were upgrading, but we couldn't get the engine to start or actually run properly because the vane had broke that controlled the speed of the engine. So we could never get it to rev up. So let's pull this apart. So 7/16 here. Then around the side here, we have a 1/2 inch. Now we have to be careful because there's a spacer in here. Now what I'm going to do before I start pulling the rest of it apart, and take off the air filter. A brand new air filter that's in there. Now we're going to disconnect this spring. Now let's take this off. I know there's still gasoline in here. So once we also see that this is running, we're also going to winterize this, which means we're going to drain the gasoline out and clean up the deck of the mower. That way, hopefully, it can last a lot longer and doesn't rust out. So there's that spacer I was mentioning. And let's take out this Z-bend. Hopefully not spill some fuel. There we go. Now we'll set this aside, set that spring aside, move the governor arm up here so it doesn't get damaged. And all right, now we're going to take this carburetor off as well as the other one, scavenge the spring, put it back into this one, put this on the engine and fire it up and see how it goes. All right, so let's get this carburetor opened. Let's lift it up. Watch out for the pickup tube. Right down here, there's the pickup tube. As you can see, there's a brand new diaphragm and gasket right here from the last video. All that's missing is the spring that goes on right here. So we're going to scavenge that out of the other carburetor. We're going to set this aside, put this at the back. Let's pull this carburetor apart. Okay, all those screws are out. Take off the breather tube and let's remove the carburetor. Watch the pickup tube. Diaphragm and gasket are on the carburetor base. And there's the spring. So let's remove it. Set the carburetor aside. I'm going to set the fuel tank aside. OEM carburetor. Put the spring on. And now we're going to put it back inside. I had to take the screws out. They were causing a problem. There we go. Let's get the screws in. So we'll just run those down by hand first, just so we make sure nothing's cross-threaded. Start here, and we'll go in a star pattern. Now we'll just torque it down. There we go. That's pretty much all there is to it. Let's get it reattached to the engine. First thing, we'll get this spring on here. Make sure that your throttle plate is not pinned to this side, because otherwise you'll have no throttle control. Make sure that this tab is between these 2 arms. Now we put the spring on, governor linkage. Let's get this screw out. The elbow on. Now we'll just thread this in by hand quickly. Now we still haven't done an oil change on this engine because it wasn't running properly. So what would we give it an oil change for if the engine's no good? So after this, depending on how it runs, I may not actually give it an oil change this year because after all, it's the end of the season right now and it seems kind of silly to give it an oil change now and just have it sit there. So I figure I'll hold off on the oil change for now, not a big deal. And then come the new year, I can make a video showing how to do an oil change on Briggs & Stratton engine. Briggs & Stratton, not Briggs & Scrap 'em. I can understand how you could get confused though, because usually it's a Briggs & Scrap 'em. Now, unlike last time, when I took it off, it was a 7/16. Now it's back to a proper 3/8. Now we'll put the air filter back on. There we go. And after we get it running, we'll adjust the throttle from this little tab down here. All right, so let's get it outside and give it a whirl. All right, guys, so it's gotten dark outside. I've got my lights set up and let's give this thing a try. Just got to put some fuel in it. Get some gas in it. That should be enough. Hopefully it starts priming. I hear it. 1 squirt, 2 squirts, 3 squirts. Perfect. All right, will it kick over? Let's try it. Oh yeah, he's running. Well, let's try increasing the RPM. So I get this little tab in here. We'll bend it out. Let's see if that'll increase the RPM. Let's try it again. Give it a couple squirts. There we go, a couple squirts. Step on the bail. Nothing. Did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Try bending it a bit more. I wonder if the governor's toast on this thing. That would be funny. The governor's toast. I don't think so, but you never know. All right, let's give it another try. Weird. It's almost like it's choked to like crazy. I wonder what would cause this. This is bizarre. Okay, so I'm going to pinch off the bail. I'm going to see what's going on. All right, so I've got a pair of vice grips on the bail. See if we can adjust this engine at all. All right, let's give it a pull. Absolutely nothing. What is going on with this mower? What is going on indeed? I think we're gonna have to crack the head after all. Fantastic news, right guys? Hey, look at that, guys. Look what I found. A red subscribe button. If you made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Comment below. I love to read your comments, and I try to reply to as many of them as I can, especially the early ones. All right, guys, back to the video. I don't know. I'm at a loss, guys. I'm at a loss. I'm actually not sure what's causing this problem. Maybe if you guys know what might be causing this problem, I really don't think it's the head. You know what? Just for giggles, we'll change out this spark plug. Why not? And try a brand new one. We'll get rid of this fast fire that looks like it's all coked up with oil again. Well, before I put in this RJ19LM, I want to try this Chinese plug for giggles. All right, let's try this. Tighten it in. There we go. Spark plug wire on. Pull it over a couple times. Okay, and pretty safe to say it ain't the spark plug. Lovely. It doesn't want to die. It's idling. At least it's idling. I wonder if it's just not getting enough fuel. I wonder if it's just simply not getting enough fuel. Maybe the main jet is clogged. All right, well, I'll have to leave that for the morning. And we'll take that carburetor off, clean out the main jet, and we'll try it again. Okay guys, so it's inside. As you see, I've already started. I got the cowl off, I've got the dipstick tube out, and I've got the muffler off. Why I took the muffler off? Well, no particular reason other than if I want to inspect the valves. Now I have easier access to take this off. All right, so let's get this spark plug out. Now this was a brand new spark plug. Oh wow, look at that. It's already blackened down the tip. Yeah, no surprise considering that black smoke that was coming out of there. Very sooty. Well, it was a new spark plug and now it's not so new. All right, let's get a 1/2-inch socket and crack these head bolts loose. That one was loose. Okay, now to quickly zip them out. So there are 3 longer bolts and they go here, here, and here. Now I'll loosen this with the 3/8. I'll just move it up and out of the way. Maybe. All right, let's get this head off and take a look at how it's going inside. Oh, yellow, where are you? There we go. Very sooty. Roll the engine down a bit. Look, piston. Hey, let me move one of these lights around. Okay, so let's check the seat on the valve. So we'll start with the exhaust. So yeah, the seat on the exhaust looks okay. The intake. Yeah, intake looks okay. Yeah, there's the decompression stroke. See that? There it goes, the bump. Pop. That's the decompression stroke. Intake, compression. Okay. Very interesting. Lots of carbon. That's just the notch indicating towards the intake. Okay. All right, so I'll clean this up and we'll get a new head gasket and get it on. And then we're going to take another look at this carburetor. I'm curious. I do have another used carburetor from another engine. I'm going to pull that off and try that on this one. And let's see if that works. Because something's really weird because the engine ran before we serviced this, because this is the original carburetor, and in the other video, this did run the engine. And it just didn't have a spring. That was the only difference, is it didn't have a spring, which is bizarre that it didn't have a spring and ran the engine better than now that it does have a spring. Okay, well, let me clean this up and we'll be right back. Okay guys, I've got it all cleaned up, and here's the new head gasket and the part number. Okay, so let's get this on. I think it cleaned up really nicely. So I'm gonna put 2 screws through, a short one on the left in the middle, and then a long one on the right in the middle. And this is just to hold the head gasket in place. So what I said about these 3 being the long ones, yeah, there's actually no difference in the length of these bolts at all. That's interesting. All right, so 1 bolt on this side and 1 bolt on this side. Provided I put it on properly. I forgot that the spark plug is offset. So I'm going to run this down by hand first, just to hold it in place. Same with this one. And this will be torqued down to 140 inch-pounds, but I'm going to do it in 3 segments. I'm going to start at 75, then I'll go to 110, and then I'll go to 140. Okay, this graphic will show you the tightening pattern for the bolts when we're going to torque them up. This is the first one. Second. This is the third. Fourth. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right, now I'm going to grab the torque wrench, and we're going to torque it down to 75 first. Okay, so 75 to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now 110. Now 140. There we go. Torqued down to 140 inch-pounds. Now I wonder, should we try it outside first? See if it'll run, and if it'll run properly? Or should we just go ahead and get that carb done? That's a good question. I'm going to bend this tab back a bit though. There. That's better. I really wonder if it'll run properly or if it'll still run terribly. Oh, the dilemma that I've put myself in. Will it run properly or will it run terribly? I have a feeling it's likely still going to run terribly. So we might as well crack into this carburetor. Let's do it. Let's get into it. There's the other carburetor. I just got to get the spring out, because unfortunately it didn't have a spring. I had to scavenge it for a different carburetor. So let's get this carburetor off. I think I'm going to have to remove... Nah, I shouldn't need to remove let's remove it. Why not? Only takes a second or two. All right, we'll take off this 3/8. Now this 1/2 inch. Come on, there we go. Take the spring off, lose the spring on the floor, hose, and we'll take the Z-bend out. Perfect. Where'd that spring go? What's the edge? Yeah, spring did actually fall on the floor and got lost. That's awesome. How the heck did that happen? Interesting. I found a spring, but it's not the one that was there. But it is a Briggs spring, so I'll put it back. There we go. Now we'll swap the carburetor in 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Carburetor's changed. So let's get the Z-bend back on. Get the tube, get the intake. Come on, intake, get on there. Get the spring. That seems to be working okay. 3/8. And of course the 1/2 inch with the spacer. Let's get the pull recoil back on. Move this out of the way. Now we'll get the air filter back on. There. The only thing left is a spark plug. Let's move this item out of the way. Well, I never checked the valves. But let's get the exhaust on. The valve seemed okay when we had the head off anyway. Now let's put the spark plug in. I cleaned off the spark plug as best I could. Put it back in. Yes, it's the jingling Chinese spark plug. There we go. That's on. And now we just got to take it outside and give it a test. Okay guys, so we're outside. I want to get this thing done. Sun's already on its way down in the sky. So let's do a quick recap what we've done so far with this. So when we got it, it was basically just a really dirty body. There weren't even wheels on this thing. So we put wheels on, changed the head gasket, put a brand new spark plug in, even though it's a jingling, who cares if it's Chinese? I mean, it's an MTD product. It's got a different carburetor on, a new diaphragm and gasket, brand new air filter, new pull rope. We haven't done the oil and we haven't sharpened the blade. Oh yeah, and a new head gasket. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but yes, a new head gasket. Do I think it's gonna run? I think it's gonna start. It's at least gonna start. Is it gonna run? Well, I really hope so. It would be nice if it would start and run and actually run properly. Then we can adjust the idle, or not the idle, but the running speed. Can't really cut any grass because there's not really much grass left to cut. Considering the last time I cut it hasn't really grown back much. It's, well, it's the end of the season. So yeah, I guess the only thing to do, give it a couple primes and try it out. Let's do that. Okay, it's primed. Plug wire is on. Got the bail clamped. So let's try it. Oh yeah! It's running well. It's actually running well. Let's give it a minute. Seems to have a fair bit of throttle response, so that's good. So let's adjust the speed a little bit. Sounds like it's a little low. Now it sounds like it's running better. Still hiccuping and popping here and there. mean, it's running at least. I mean, not bad. It's not bad. I'm wondering if that's the spring. When it keeps popping, I think it might be the spring. The spring might not have enough tension on it inside the carburetor for the diaphragm. But other than that, I mean, it's running. It's actually running really well. So let's see if she'll stir it up on her own. I say yeah, 100%. Not even a try. Yeah, no issue. No issue at all. It seems to be running quite well. So how about that, eh guys? Not bad. Not bad. From a trash fine mower to 2 videos to get this thing to its current state. I mean, it needs a little bit more work. I got to work out the coughing, but I mean, it's running. It's actually running really, really well. I mean, remember in the first video, if you haven't seen that, you really should check it out. She was blowing smoke pretty bad, was spewing oil everywhere, and was making quite the mess. But this video, changed the head gasket, put a different spark plug in there, and reworked that carburetor, and sure enough, look at that. Everything's good. Other than that little bit of a hiccup. But that's okay. That means that this mower, I'm going to winterize it, meaning I'm going to drain the fuel out, and then I'm also going to drain the oil because I'm going to put this in for storage for next year. But there we go, guys. Another one saved. No longer is it going to end up in the trash, but likely it's going to end up in someone's backyard cutting their lawn. Wouldn't that be nice? Back to doing what it was supposed to be doing, not in the landfill. That's not where these belong. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one. So here it is. It's Halloween now. And got my decorations out. There's that tiller up there. Yep. Maybe I shouldn't have fixed it. Decided to eat someone. I guess he tried to save him, but he kind of tripped and fell and got impaled on the tree. Poor guy. He attempted to save his buddy, but was unsuccessful. And then here, what do we have here? Oh dear. This is why you shouldn't lay down in front of a snowblower. Oh boy. Yeah, that is eyeballs stuck on his finger. That's tragic. That's what happens when you have a tiller. Oh, look at that. His foot came off. That keeps happening. And this one's broken out again. Seen something funny about these. They're all right hands. It's very peculiar. I have yet to find a left one. Right, so back to this thing. What a travesty. This was definitely very, very well abused. Oh well, what can you do? Anyway, spark plug off for safety.